What's up everybody? So today it's a different type of video. I want to share with you my story on how I have been able to travel for the last 4 years completely full-time. I don't have a script today. I'm just going to share with you a little bit about my story, and then I will share with you some of my advice and lessons that I've learned in hopes to inspire you to do the same if you are on the verge of deciding if you want to be a digital nomad. So I think this video is great for you. If you're new to this channel, there's a lot you don't know. I want to start by sharing that I have immigrated to the United States at the age of 20 years old from Belgium, but I'm originally from Morocco. So I was born in Morocco, raised in Belgium, and then at 20 I had this amazing idea that I wanted to move to New York City. And then I went there on a tourist visa, but I had the intention of staying. So I worked my way up. I went to school, then I went to college, and then I eventually got my green card, then my citizenship. Those first 10 years in the US were very, very difficult, but they actually were a great lesson, the life I'm living today. For example, as an immigrant in a new country, you basically have to go through the same thing as when you are traveling in a new country as a solo female traveler who doesn't necessarily speak the language. I go to places I've never been, and even though I'm doing my homework, I still find it challenging at times, but right now for me it is more exciting than a challenge. Back to when I was in the US, I had to learn how to be resourceful, and that is excellent skill to have because now I have developed that skill, but also I am a lot more confident. So whenever I encounter a challenge, I slow down, dissect the problem, and then I find solution. And I used to do that in the US, and I'm still doing this now as I'm traveling. Of course, the challenges might be a little less than when I was in the US because the problem are not that big. I mean, the biggest challenge I might have when I travel somewhere, it might be financial. You know, suddenly I don't have any clients, or clients don't pay their invoices on time. What you need to know is I don't work for anybody. I'm a freelancer / I own my own business, and I dabble on multiple things. My main thing is business coaching. So I teach people how to launch an online business, but I also take on gigs at time for marketing companies and marketing agencies. One of the lessons I want to share with you is that it's okay to work full-time for a company remotely and yet pick up on freelance work. That way it can secure you more saving just in case things happen. Another challenge that might happen here is health related. Thankfully, I am 100% healthy. I have never had any major health challenge, but we are all one accident away to lose everything. And I'm super aware of that. So I do my best, even though I travel to remote places, I still am careful and I use my common sense. I also have travel health insurance, and if you're interested in using the same one, I'm using Safety Wing, and I will leave my link down below. After 10 years, well, no, 15, because in 2019 is when I started to traveling full-time. But what led me there was I got almost engaged with someone, and I was in a relationship for 3 years, about maybe a little more. And during that time, I had a very, very challenging relationship. And the reason why I'm telling you about this right now, it is because this was the catalyst of me making the choice of leaving the US. At that point, been living there for 15 years, so 2005 till 2019 about. I started asking questions. So what am I doing? Everything that I wanted, I had accomplished. I had a degree, I had started a business, I had become a citizen. I've done all of these things. And then I realized that I needed something more. And the end of that relationship, after I left, this is when I started to plan travel full-time, and that was way before COVID. Actually, I had a conversation with a person who told me, hey, do you know about this term digital nomad? And I started to learn more about it, and I felt it in my heart that this was what I wanted to do. And so another piece of advice here is that get started, because when you get started, you will find ways that will take you further. You can't plan everything ahead of time. There's no way. Like when I started planning my digital nomad journey, to the best of my abilities, I also knew that I had to leave room for the unexpected. And thank God, because you can control everything. And so one time I had a conversation with a dear friend of mine, and she told me about house sitting. She said, hey, why don't you start house sitting? That allow you to stay in homes for free, and you just gotta take care of pets, and sometimes there's no pets. And I was like, wait a minute, this exists? And I looked it up and I was like, wow. And I actually signed up for that agency. It's called Trusted House Sitters. And I also will leave my link down below. I have now done over 45 house sits, and I have a stellar profile of 5-star reviews. So now I can actually negotiate better house sits. I negotiate cars to have that included in my house sit. And I also stay in homes that I don't think I could ever afford well. I stayed in villas, beachfront properties, penthouses. And right here, this is not a house sit, but I'm also staying in a villa here in Canary Islands. And I'm like, wow, these are the things I never grew up with. I grew up in a small apartment in Belgium with my mom and my sister. I had a very traumatic childhood as well. And so I think that the negative part of the beginning of my life and me moving to the US was so out of control that today this does not bother me. So I'm actually kind of quite used to it. You can throw me anywhere that I don't know, I will figure it out because I'm so used to that. So back to my story, it took me about 6 months to plan the beginning of my travels. And so at that point I had an apartment, a car, a business. Thankfully, my business was already remote, and I had done about 2 years of live events every month in Arizona. I had also done them in New York, and this whole thing allowed me to gather over 3,000 leads on my email list. And because of that amazing community that I've built, I was able to go completely remote. So I was doing marketing work, anything related to social media. I had my business coaching practice, and on top of that, I built this community. So every time I would launch a course or a membership, I had a lot of support. So I highly recommend to do that if you are planning to have your own business. Build a community, build an email list. This was really helpful for me. And then I gave my notice for my apartment, or I had to get rid of my car. So then I was like, where am I gonna go? I was kind of lost, but I said to myself, well, I think I'm gonna go to Asia. So I wanted to sail to go to Thailand. And funny enough, as I started making my route towards East, so left the US, went to Europe. From Europe, my last country East was actually Turkey, Istanbul. And at that point, this is where COVID hit. And at the beginning, I didn't believe, I thought it was gonna be just a hype, that's gonna end soon, and it didn't. So at that point, I started to get worried. So I had a conversation with my mom, and my mom said, you need to get back to Europe as soon as possible, because if the borders end up closing, you don't wanna be stuck in Turkey or wherever, come back to the EU. And so from then on, my whole plan had been shattered. So that's another lesson for you. Please do not overplan. Plan the basics, do your research about visas and, how much money you would need to be in one place and the cost of travel and all that stuff. But do not overplan, because it's not going to serve you. It definitely didn't serve me, and it still doesn't serve me. I used to plan my travel 6 months ahead of time with house sits, itinerary, flight books, all of that. I don't do this anymore. As of right now, we are May 1st, 2023. I have a house sit plan in June 19th. I have another one in November, but I have pockets in between, and I actually have no idea where I'm gonna go. I'm leaving here to go to Spain. Hopefully, I am planning to do the Camino de Santiago. So stay tuned for that, because I'm going to be documenting my whole adventure. But I actually do not overplan anymore. What I do is make sure I have enough money saved that in case I have to stay somewhere, I have enough money for an apartment, an Airbnb, if I do not find a house sit. After those 3 months, some borders started to open back up, and as soon as they were open, I took the train and I went to Germany. and I started to finally travel again. Very slowly though, because it was still COVID, but at that point it got a little bit better and so on. So I've never made it to Asia to this point. I stayed around here, but eventually I had to come back to the US, and that led me to Mexico. I actually had lived in Arizona for 3 years and I had never been to Mexico. Why? Because I listened to people, and that's another lesson for you. Please, please, please do not listen to the media. Make your own choices by going there. Of course, you want to do your research. Do not go to overly sensitive or dangerous area, especially as a solo female traveler. But for me, for Mexico, the best way you can get advice on a place to go is by talking to people who are already there or who have been there. And that's who I listen to. I do not listen to the people who had never traveled there. I do not listen to people who overly watch the media, and I just make my own way. And so when I went to Mexico, I ended up staying there 6 months, and it was magical. I had made so many friends. I had business opportunities there. I highly recommend, first of all, go to Mexico and also go to foreign places. Culture, knowledge, connection, understanding. There's so much good that's connected to the travel, but also you'll get to know yourself on a deeper level. And that's what I really, really like about being alone and traveling alone. Now, I'm not antisocial. I have a lot of friends, and I have a lot of friends around the world for that matter, because I'm open like that. Anyway, so now it's been 4 years of full-time travel. I'm here in the Canary Islands, which is not too far from Morocco. And again, I just let myself go with opportunities, and I'm very open and I pay attention. That's another advice for you. Be open. Pay attention to the opportunities, to the signs, to things that comes your way. If you really pay close attention, you will see magic in every day. So look for joy in the small things of life. Do not try to control the outcome. Instead, be present where you are now. If I can end with this, is to take the opportunities even for 1 year. If you could travel for 1 year and make an income online, please do it. Well, I don't regret it, and I'm actually not done traveling. I still want to, travel the world and see places. Now with remote jobs and with AI, now that makes life even easier. There's no excuses. You can find a way to make money online. There's so many job opportunities. I talk a lot about this on my other channel, I Believe Media. There's so many ways to make money online, so that should not be an excuse. And then document your journey. I think it's great to do that. Not only you will inspire others, but also you go back and look back at your videos or your blogs or whatever you've documented, and you will get a really good sense of accomplishments. When I look at my videos of my travel, I'm like, wow, I've been there, I've done that, and I actually documented it. It gives me joy, so I highly recommend to do that. So I know this video was a bit of a rampage of a little bit of everything. If you have any questions or comments and you want me to diving into a deeper topic, honestly, I'm an open book. Feel free to comment down below and I'll be happy to go ahead and answer your questions. So go ahead, travel. The world belongs to the brave. Go ahead and enjoy. The world is here for you to explore it. Thank you so much for watching. Do not forget to share, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you on my next video. Bye-bye from the Canary Islands. Bye!